Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on this episode of Weekly Marketing Fuel. I'm your host, Connor, and this is my co-host, Aaron.
What's going on?
All right, good to have you. So today we're jumping into the episode talking about some of the trials and tribulations that we've had over the years. And we're going to do kind of a deep dive into the marketing side, or really just the origin story of your business and how you became an entrepreneur, how you've progressed over the years. Just talk about as much detail as we want to go into.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that kind of my story that I wanted to tell, it kind of all started back when I graduated in 1995 from golf school. And yes, I said golf school. I went to golf school. I didn't play golf all day or every day, but I did play a lot of golf. But I learned about the business side of it, things on the turf side of that. But so my journey was long. So we got married, and in '95, right after I graduated, and went straight to Frankfort, Kentucky, where I managed a 9-hole golf course there. And about a year I worked there, and that's kind of when my struggle started because the owners of the golf course wanted to do something that I wasn't willing to do. And so probably a couple months later, we played around at golf. I actually beat the guy. I think it kind of made him mad, and I ended up unemployed. So, I knew we wanted to start a family, but I had to get kind of my roots underneath me first. So then we moved to Wisconsin, where I worked on a golf course there, and it was just too cold, man. We just didn't like it. So I ended up moving.
So let's back up just a hair and
Yeah.
what was your intention by going to golf school in Phoenix?
Well, I wanted to I loved golf. I wanted something I was passionate about, and I really didn't know what I was passionate about and graduated from high school. I didn't go get a 4-year degree like a lot of people did. I don't think that you have to go to a school like that to be successful, but I wanted to be on the PGA Tour, helping with the golf tournaments and stuff like that. I mean, I wasn't going to be a player, but I was kind of wanting to work for the PGA.
Okay, so kind of like on the administrative side, event setup side, maybe even
Yes.
marketing side.
Yes, and actually, I had a lawyer do my resume. Man, it was unbelievable. It was state of the art. Had a 3D photo of a golf hole in front. I spent a lot of money to get that, and I just really wanted to be on the PGA Tour and doing that while I was young. I thought it'd been a good career, and out of the problem was over 5,000 people applied. Now I did get down to the top 50, which was pretty successful, but wasn't successful enough for me. So I had to obviously get a job in golf, and that's why I went and managed a golf course.
Okay, so it's been a year in Kentucky. Now we've moved to Wisconsin, where it's kind of a barren wasteland of snow.
Yeah.
Um, so tell us about that experience and how you like the golf course.
Yeah. Well, I moved up there. My parents were up there. We're originally from Illinois, and my dad got transferred up north. He worked in the paper mill business and was a superintendent there. And so we moved up there, just trying to find what we wanted to do. And I had just had an opportunity pop up, and we took it. And it was close by, and it was just way too cold. And I kind of broke my parents' heart and told them, "Look, I can't live here. I can't raise a family here. It's not my hometown. I don't know nobody. It's small. It's when it snows, the snow stays around for months. And I like to boat and fish and do other things. I love to hunt, but I just wasn't willing to raise a family up in there, just because I just don't like cold.
Yeah, no, understandable. I can't stand the cold. I'm living in Northern California right now, for those of you who don't know, and when it gets to like 105, 110 in the summer, I would rather have that than like a drop of snow.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I hate it. But
yeah. So anyway, after that, we ended up moving to Springfield, Illinois, which was about 30, 40 minutes from my hometown, our hometown. And it went good. I was in the insurance business. That was kind of interesting. I was in the life insurance business. Actually, I saw a lot of success. I saw a lot of promise. But I think I paid them more than they paid me. In the snow, I remember getting stuck with an agent. We were driving to a house because most insurance stuff is done at night after people off work. So you'd be out till 10,
Right.
11 o'clock at night, traveling. And it just wasn't my thing, but I knew I wanted to be in sales because I did it when I was a kid. I sold, Globe magazines. I mean, a lot of people don't even know what those are, but they were actually a magazine. That's how I bought my first BMX bike, but we'll leave that story for another time. So I had sales experience. I really enjoyed sales, and I wanted to do it, but they were going to make me buy this expensive IBM ThinkPad laptop, and I'm like, man, I cannot afford this right now. So I took a job as a cell phone salesman. Go figure that. And this is in, 19,
So
probably 96, 97. This is probably 97 when this happened.
okay, so you quit the job that made you because they were going to make you buy a tablet to go and sell cell phones.
And I'd tab a laptop that was probably about two grand at the time.
Oh, okay, okay.
I didn't have 2 grand. And Holly's my wife. She's like, Aaron, you got to make some money. So I took that cell phone job, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't really. I thought it was gonna be just part time. Ended up being full time. I ended up quitting the insurance business. I wasn't getting anywhere with that anyway. That was going to be a long term goal of mine because it is a lucrative business. You just got to do your time, so to speak, and build that customer base. And it takes a while. And we didn't have the technology we have now. It'd be a different story. Yeah. But it was kind of a joke, because a lot of people, cell phones were a luxury back then, because I mean, if you talk 30 or 40 minutes, it was $200 a month. So a lot of people couldn't afford that. So that's why it was considered a luxury item. But I saw the potential in the business. And I had said when I was just working as a salesperson that this is going to be lucrative, man, because you're going to have kids carry around cell phones. And a lot of people laughed at me during that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those stages of life where we think like, how in the world did we ever live in society without having cell phones?
Yeah.
And it's like I only knew that period of time for very short as a kid. But I do remember very well not having smartphones. And I think now, like, whenever I need to go somewhere, like if we go on vacation or even go up the road sometimes, if I don't know where that place is at,
right?
How in the world did we do this without Google Maps?
I know.
Like I think about it, I'm like, geez. So being in this pre-stage, and kind of having the foresight of what cell phones could become, where did that turn into?
Yeah, so basically what happened after about, I don't know, 7, 8 months, I got put as a manager at a store that wasn't doing very well. Matter of fact, it was in the mall. And I turned that store around they graded everything from A to an F, and it was a D when I got it, and it was a B when I left. The traffic was there. I mean, you just had to have a personality and not be afraid to talk to people. And so, man, I would just go out and grab people. Hey, come here, check this phone out, And anyway, long story short, I had an opportunity to come up. I was at my wife's sister's wedding, and she had a lot of cousins and people that were in town from Indy, and because on her side of the family, most of them are from Indiana anyway. So anyway, we got to talking with a guy. He had won multiple awards with GTE, and he opened his own cell phone store up. So we got to talking. We kind of hit it off pretty good. And then all of a sudden, he's like, hey, I want you to come work for me. I'm opening up, I'm going to have like 6 or 7 stores. I need people that I can trust to help run my business. And I'd like for you to come over. Well, I went home, talked to my wife, and she did not want to move. We had already been moving all over the place and just getting settled in. And so we had an opportunity to say, I'll tell you what, I'll come down and see you, and we'll talk some more. So long story short, he came down and he said, hey, what about if we open one here? And I was like, wow, I can do that, And I was, and the day that I found out about that was the day that I found out that my employer, who I was working for at the cell phone store, just bought 6 stores. and was going to put me at one of those stores and possibly run all 6 of those, after I learned the business a little bit more. And I pretty much had to say, no, I'm going to open my own and I'm going to be competition. And so that didn't
Ooh,
go over too well,
I bet he was excited to hear that.
yeah, he was very excited to hear that. And so anyway, we opened our own, and but here's the struggle, okay? And this is where I can relate to a lot of people, and this part of it, because everybody has a struggle, you know. So here I am, I just getting a stable income, okay? It's been just over a year. He comes to me, he says, okay, we're going to open one here. He said, but you got 2 choices on how to get paid. I said, okay, what's that? He said, number one, he said, you can take a salary. I'll pay you a good, fair salary, or you can go 100% commission, but you can't have both. And so I'm like, oh
Mm.
man, but I knew, being in the cell phone business, I just had it. Nobody else believed this. Not only people that really believed it was probably the owners of the stores. Okay. And they
Mm.
were going through some rocky times because they were calling, the media was saying, it's getting saturated, and, cell phones are they're just a fad and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, there is no way. You got real estate agents, you got people out there using these as tools. No, this is gonna be a great business. So I said, me and my wife talked about it, and we was like, hey, we need to take the chance. Okay. And that's what you got to do in business. You got to take chances. Okay. You might not like the chances. They might not turn out the way you want them to, but in life, if you want to succeed, you're going to have to take a risk. So we took the risk and we took commission, and man, I'm telling you, it was great. I mean, it was just, I had more business than I can ever dreamed of.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's hard to like think about going from a salary to commission, especially something like, I don't know, something that's not super like popular at the time.
Yeah.
You saw the potential in it, but it wasn't a guaranteed, hey, you're going to make more money in commission than you are salary, because back then people didn't look at cell phones as, like you said, they looked at it like a luxury item, not a necessity.
Right.
So you're not just marketing to uh, regular people. At that time, you were marketing, like you said, to real estate agents, to maybe like, traveling salesmen, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it shifted from specific markets to everyone.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
So how did the business transform throughout the years? You said you had about 10, had the store for about 10 years.
yeah, I mean, so when I opened up the store, I had this big old building. Okay, I had a 12-foot counter and another counter that I checked out people, and the 1,200 square foot was just, the rest of it was just empty. It was just it was it was very empty in there. Okay, it was just me. I mean, if I got sick, I still had to show up every day, and we lived, bought a house only about 2 blocks away. So I mean, I literally lived
Mm.
here. I was working all kinds of hours. I would, have to do all the selling and then turn around and put all the stuff in the data, and do all the accounting stuff. I was it.
By the way, if I just want to interject real fast, and if you're listening to this and you can't see and you haven't already put together, Aaron is my dad, and so I was here for this experience, and I will say that the store was almost bigger than the house.
Yes.
So the house, most of the money was into the store at this time.
Yeah, and you know, the biggest thing with it is, your mom couldn't help me because she's home, with a brand new baby, with you. And it was my job as a man. I wanted to make sure I took care of my family, so I worked hard. I mean, there'd be a lot of times I'd be down there until 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then be back at 8 o'clock in the morning, ready to go again. So you know the other thing is, when you're an entrepreneur, okay, you spend a lot of time at your business. Okay, I don't care what it is. You're going to spend time, so you have to make your time count, and that's something that I learned the hard way. And that's kind of where we were at that moment. And then, so basically, everything's going really good. Okay, and usually when things are going really good, there's something pretty bad around the corner. nine times out of 10. And it's called trials and tribulations that you go through in life. And those were, was my time, number one, my money, luckily I was still under this guy who bought all this inventory. Okay. Well, kind of like today, all right, when you go to buy, they give you a max amount that you can spend. Well, he had opened so many stores so fast, he really hadn't time to prove himself. So we were shipping phones all over the place. He would buy them under my account, and then I'd have to ship them to Indianapolis. I mean, so we had inventory problems and stuff like that we had to deal with financially that we just weren't ready for. So that put a stress on everybody, and with stress comes usually a lot of bad decisions, or somebody messes up, or something happens, and that's kind of where we're at. And the next part of the story is, things that we can't control, especially when we're not in the same town, happen for a reason. And I'm not going to say what it was, but there basically was a split in the company. There was three partners. I was not even one of them. I was just technically an employee, but I was working for myself. I mean, everything that I made, I kept. So, and I paid a small, I don't know, it was pretty decent size, but there was other monies that they were able to keep, for kind of a good trade-off. But, man, I poured my heart and soul into it. And then I find out that the part of the partners want to get rid of the main guy, which was somebody I know, so family-wise. So that was very hard, and went through all that, split up. And I ended up just saying, hey, guys, let me just take my part, and I'll split off, and you guys can have yours and stuff. So I did that, and during that time, I had another vendor coming to me. And that vendor wanted to come into my business and say, hey, look, we don't want to be your main part of the business, which was a major franchise. And we decided to finally do it. But then I brought my father-in-law in. So it's kind of been a family business. And, we got along very well, and did that. We ran this business for about 10 to 12 years. And then in 08, 09, a lot of things happened. We were actually doing good. AT&T just was cutting people, and we were one of them. We had made many cuts. Matter of fact, the employer who I had worked for tried to buy me out so many times because he just hated the idea that I did that to him. And it really wasn't anything personal. It was in a different town. And he didn't let me grow like I wanted to. I always thought if he would move on, I would have been able to grow a lot better and we'd still be in business. But, that's just the way it goes. You learn from those trials and tribulations, and it just makes you stronger.
Yeah, and one of the main themes of this whole story, and I want, if you're listening to this is why we're doing Rocket Fire now, is there was a big shift in the decision to go from, okay, I'm already working for this guy. I know him. I can work well with him. I know I can sell his cell phones. Okay, now I'm actually going to promote to maybe possibly running these 6 stores. There's a shift to my own store, being my own boss, my own manager. Everything rides on me. And there's a theme of that in being an entrepreneur. You always want to go with, if you have this spirit, you always want to go towards, I want to be my own boss. I want to make my own decisions. And that is why we were starting Rocket Fire Pro Marketing, is because we would like to take our life into our own hands and make our own decisions. After being employees, being owners, being entrepreneurs, I think that whatever you do in life, if this is in you, it'll always come out and it'll always shine. We'll always resort to it.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, my desire was, at 13 years old. Yeah, I was 13 when I figured out, I'll never forget it. I sat up in my bed and I'm like, look, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. That's just what I wanted, because I wanted to be successful, but I just wanted to kind of have my own thing to do. Okay. It wasn't really about people bossing me around or anything like that. Because I've had plenty of bosses, but it's just about entrepreneurship. It's about, doing things your way. You really want things to go your way, and control your own destiny. And that's kind of what got me to be an entrepreneur. And like I said, we know how bad and how hard that you have to work, and the struggles that you go through, In today's economy is even, I think it's even worse than it was in 08, 09. I mean, there's a lot of promise out there. A lot of people are making money right now, but there's also a lot of scare and we can't be fearful. I mean, we're going to still take risk every day, in our business.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add about, maybe where the story held us next, or stories about, or some lessons that you learned in your business, or anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, after we shut down our retail business, really Facebook and other social media platforms were hardly they were there. They were for personal use. They were just starting to get for business towards the end, but it was so limited. I mean, they didn't have Facebook ads like they do now. They had national ads, but that was about it. So I knew going in business that uh, down the road was going to be totally different because marketing was different back then. We did a lot of guerrilla marketing for our business, door to door knocking, fairs, any type of shows, state fairs. We would set up trailers. I mean, we were going after it. I mean, when we had the Radio Shack franchise was one of them that we added to our business, and Connor here was like the king of RC cars. We wouldn't even let him win because he was beating everybody. But we knew what it took to have a successful business, and then things ended, and we tried to open up another retail store pretty quickly. Actually, I did it in record time. Nobody in Verizon history had ever done that, and I not bragging, but it was just I had drive, man, because I wanted to make it work, and because I was providing for you, and now we had two sisters come along, so we had a lot of drive and motivation. And I'm going to tell you something. And the other important part of it is having good support from home. I had great support from my wife. She was always my cheerleader. In good times and bad times, she's always been there, still is today. And so you have to work it as a team. And trust me, we didn't get along. We're type A personalities, and we struggled, but it also has put us where we're at today, and we're a lot stronger for that, because there's a lot of risk out there, and you got to be willing to take the punches going into it. So, we went through 3 years. We actually moved and left Illinois and came to Alabama, and that's kind of where we're at now. In Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And it's been great. I think it's been great for you. I think it's been great for the girls, too, as well. And because they're all over the place. I mean, I got one graduating this year, and she's getting ready to go south even further. So you're in California, and then my other daughter is in Romania. So it's been a lot more prosperous, and we knew that going into it. So we made the move. And I spent 3 years in commercial business, roofing business, and family. And like everybody, most families can't work together. But we didn't. We split up again. And I got into car business, Connor. And that was, because sales is sales. You can always take this pen
Yeah.
and go anywhere and sell. Okay. And it's bigger ticket items, so it's harder to sell because it's a big decision for people. But I
Yeah, of
really
course.
love, yeah, I really love the car business. It's very difficult at times because it is commission based. But there again, if you don't take the risk, there's no reward. So you can get stuck at a desk and do an hourly job, or you can go out there and take risk and create your own income and control your own destiny. So I've been in the business 8 years. Been doing marketing, digital marketing. Picked up on that real quick. Been very successful at that. So that's kind of what throws us into where we're at today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we share all that today just to kind of give a quick background on your story. I'm sure I'll go into my story some other time maybe, and just talk a little bit about my experiences over the years coming up from in that house where the store was basically everything. Like,
Yeah.
and we've had several retail stores, and so being in that, like, being the kid who sells cell phones to his teacher, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, on weekends, selling phones out of the trailer with you and Pawpaw, and just having those like amazing experiences that really instilled in me like just the value of like working hard, and and the value of talking to other people and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey,
So, yeah.
Connor, before we go though, we have to tell a funny story. Okay, we can't be serious the whole time, but I got a story about Connor. How old were you? Probably 6. But like I said, when you own a Radio Shack store, when it gets close to Christmas, all right. Actually, you ordered them usually in the summer. Well, it was usually start getting them in October. You get these RC cars. Everybody knows about. If you've been into a Radio Shack, in the Christmas season, which starts pretty early with Radio Shack, because boy, they sure do pile the inventory on you. In race cars, basically driving those things all over the store. But we had always built a big old pyramid in the middle of the store. I mean, we'd have over 100 RC cars. And O'Connor just thought he was the king of the RC cars, and he was always guarding those cars. So when kids would come in, and Connor would be with me at work, he'd say, "Hey, don't touch that. That's my car." I mean, you're just so passionate about the store, or a lot of times though you'd be in there selling a cell phone to somebody. We'd all be busy, and then we'd look over, and Connor's sitting over there selling a cell phone, and he's like 8 years old. So, I know it meant a lot to you as much as it did to me, because it crushed you when we told you that we were no longer doing it. I'll never forget that day, sitting at the kitchen table and talking about that. But I knew it was going to be all right, because I had the ability to be in sales, and now that's kind of where we're at now. Is I want to take those experiences and share them with other people who are having the same kind of struggles to help them.
Well, in my defense, those kids I knew that they couldn't beat me in an RC car race. So that pile was reserved for winners. That's all I got to say about that.
I know.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us today on the weekly Marketing Fuel podcast. We thank you so much for joining. We're looking to do this on a weekly basis. Also, you can find us on Instagram at RocketFire Pro. You can find us on Facebook, and we are also coming to TikTok and YouTube at RocketFire Pro or RocketFire Pro Marketing, whichever one will come up. So again, thank you for joining us. Looking for us next week. And we're out of here.
Hey, Connor. Hey, before we go though, this is our website. So you can go to RocketFire Pro Marketing, or actually RocketFirePro.com, and check out our website too. And it basically has a lot of great information on there that you can use, and feel free to browse around.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find all of our marketing services there, along with blog posts. If you have any questions, you can contact us through there as well, or feel free to direct message us on all social media forums. So anything else to add?
Oh, man, that's good, man. I'm excited to look for our next podcast.
All right. Thank you all.